My wife cheated. I wanted to stay and fight, but I'm struggling with what to do after I've tried everything that I feel is possible. My wife and I were college sweethearts. We met and started dating about 14 years ago and married around 9 years ago. We have always had a strong relationship, never once broke up or discussed a breakup. We were best friends and I thought soulmates. We got along well, complemented each other's personalities well, and are, for the most part, each other's support system. Our sex life has always been good. Over the past 6 months I noticed we were a bit disconnected, but nothing too crazy. We still went on 2 one-on-one vacations together and did make time for dinners out and things like that. We've had this disconnect happen once in a while with our busy lives and exhausting children. Life with young, very active kids can be extremely time-consuming and tiresome, as some of you likely know. We would talk about it and work to improve it, and things would go on. About a week ago, she created an elaborate lie about going to dinner with a girlfriend while I was away on travel. I caught her in the lie and confronted her on it. Her demeanor with me, the way she had her phone attached at her hip, and the time frame of this dinner just rubbed me the wrong way, so I waited until I got a chance to check her phone. I was finally able to about 3 days after this apparent dinner date, and found she had been messaging a guy. So I asked her about my suspicion even though I had no proof of what they talked about. She eventually came clean, but first claimed they were just friends talking about life and admitted that she had started an innocent, friendly conversation with the AP 6 weeks ago after meeting him at the gym. Finally, it came out that they became friends on social media and began establishing what I would call an emotional affair. She then admitted to having sex with him twice that Friday night. She claims this was the first sexual occurrence. I later found old texts on her. I watched that she missed where they were telling each other they love each other, and after I exposed the affair, she kept asking him if he truly loved her. What a tool this guy must be. Single guy flirting and knowingly working to break up a family. They were meeting outside the gym in his car to talk and kiss, and it led to them having sex this one night. Apparently, I caught it early and she originally agreed to cut him off, but later found that she was still texting him. She had originally agreed to try marriage and individual counseling, but I was only willing to do that if she cut him off. So, I told her she needed to move out, and gave her the 180 treatment for the last 2 days, and it's almost like it's a relief for her to able to be on her own. Where did this even come from? It's shocking how easy she seems to be taking what will be a massive change in our and our kids' lives. Finally, I asked her why she did this, and over the last week she has come up with this story that she has felt unfulfilled for a while. I told her I can't believe I didn't know she was so unhappy and miserable in our relationship. She said she wasn't unhappy. Our relationship was good. We were best friends. She does love me. Our sex was good. But she was unfulfilled. I asked what was missing and she said, the passion. She said she has tried to give me hints along the way and was waiting for me to try. She would tell me she missed me, and when I asked her about that, she said those things because she knew she should. I don't have a crystal ball. She also said that she doesn't feel what she has broken can be unbroken, and that life is too short. She wants to make decisions based on her happiness, not the happiness of her kids or family. She said our kids will be fine either way. I think it's obvious I've lost her, but I'm at a loss as to how we came to this nuclear option without any indicators or effort to nurture what we had. Sorry for the long post. It feels good to just let it all out there. I appreciate everyone's time, support, and sound advice. We are moving toward divorce, and she is moving out. Her mind is so clear that being empowered, in control, independent, and focused her own happiness, that no other narrative or explanation for her behavior will be heard. She also said something that resonated with me. She said that her actions have broken our relationship so far beyond repairing that she didn't know if she wanted to put in the effort to fix it, because life is too short. At this point, it solidified her affair fog, as if I didn't know already, and made it clear to me that she was too far gone. I feel a bit better today knowing how this will end, us divorced and me working on myself, my own mind, body, and soul as I recover from this. Of course, my kids will be my priority as well. I think the unknown of how life was going to play out in this aftermath somehow amplified my body and mind's response. Now that there is a definitive in what's happening in my marriage, I do feel like a burden has been lifted. But I know there will be rough waters ahead. Although this deeply hurts, and I'm still confused as to how we got here, how she could step out simply because she was bored with the mundane routine of parent life, I can see that she is no longer the person I thought she was. Now I need to focus on minimizing the impact to my kids and improving myself. I know I'll be okay. I know my kids will be okay, because they are loved and supported. True colors. Your post really spoke to me. This is exactly what's going on in my situation. My soon-to-be ex-wife must be as deep as a F-rock to think her new life is going to be butterflies and passion from here on out. The emotional capacity of preteen girl. Thanks again to everyone for your comments and support. To answer a few questions, my wayward wife used the excuse that my dad was coming into town to leave me with the kids all weekend and go shack up with the AP all weekend while going out to bars and staying out late, but now it's exciting. She also randomly went skydiving Saturday, something she never once said she wanted to do. It's unbelievable how this new life she has created in her head has energized her to be this different person and forget about this life she created with me. But now that she's down the path of justifying her actions, I've become this idiot that apparently didn't hear her, listen to her, or fulfill her. It was first that she had begun feeling disconnected from me for the last 6 months. Then it became 1 year. Then it became 2 - 3 years, and she just dropped on me yesterday that she has felt this way about me since before we had our first child 6 years ago. Lol. She has deleted her Facebook because it's too painful to see the pictures and has been lying to anyone she can about the circumstances around how we came to the decision to divorce. She's telling a story that I never tried to reconcile, which is BS, but it doesn't matter. She did tell her family, and her family were all shocked, tried to talk sense into her, and she immediately cut them off and will not speak to them. Anyone that doesn't tell her that all they want for her is her happiness gets the cold shoulder. This is about her journey to finding herself and finding her happiness. She spoke to a counselor for an hour for the first time earlier this week, and she told me that this counselor confirmed her feelings, that she was likely building a wall over time, that when we met, she was in such a low place that anyone could have come along and saved her. She had been dealing with depression due to her mother dying when she was young. She has always said that I saved her and was the best thing that ever happened to her. Now I'm this guy that just happened to be in the right place at the wrong time apparently. But what therapist is going to tell you that how you feel is wrong? You're not going to open up if someone tells you you're an idiot on the first call. She has yet to tell her grandparents and other extended family about our pending divorce because she doesn't want to deal with the blowback. Everyone loved me and saw how well we clicked. So, the conversations she will have with them will probably be full of lies and villainize me to justify again in her head and to her family. She is moving into a small apartment in 2 weeks. I'm extremely curious how all of this unfolds over the next 12 months. She says all of this is not about him, but it's rather about getting out of our marriage and finding herself. Such a load of SHT, selfish bitch, never once came to me and told me she was missing something from me. Again, appreciate everyone's support and comments. It really does help to come on here and read your encouraging words. I look forward to healing and moving on from this point and finding something better. I know that I'll look back at this as a blessing. Now to just get through the 3 years of spousal support. Ugh, Ohio sucks. Story 2. I cannot believe I'm writing this. Never, ever did I think I would be writing a post like this about my loving, devoted wife of 10 years. We live together in the city with our 3 young children, which is where I grew up. But she is from a small rural town 3 hours away. She lived in the city for 4 years before we got together officially, and I told her that my life was in the city, and I don't think I could do country life. For 10 years she has talked about moving back home. I have told her every time it's not what I want. Our business, our children's school, and our lives are here in the city. 4 weeks ago, she went to a wedding in her hometown without me. When she returned home, I asked her if she danced with anyone. She said she did, and I told her I felt a bit jealous, but I absolutely trusted my wife. She has only ever been the perfect model of loyalty. The next weekend she was going up again. This time, all of a sudden to an old school friend's birthday party. Strange, but okay. I was happy for her to go. When she got home, she confessed that she had not stayed with family, but had spent the weekend on her own, just trying to have a break from the kids. I started to feel not right about something. I told her I felt like she's deceived me about why she went up and asked her why she couldn't just be honest. Well, I've been feeling less of her love and adoration lately, and it's really spiked my anxiety. We were in her hometown over Easter and a few things didn't sit right, like a 2-hour walk and a long dinner with her sister. We came home and I felt paranoid. I hated it. Something was wrong, and she put it down to how much she wants us to move to her hometown. Why? Because she wants to be closer to her family and have our children experience the same childhood she did. I went to see my therapist and he asked me, is there someone else? And I'm like, no way, never, not my wife. But when I got home, I pushed past my general rule of not snooping and looked on her computer, and sure enough there it was in all its sexually explicit glory. Weeks and weeks of messages between them. They had sex multiple times, and she loved it. When she went out for her walk, she went to see him, and when she went for dinner, well, that was just an excuse to be out, and she went to see him again. I could tell from the tone of the conversation that she was quite smitten with this guy, this scumbag, who knowingly takes a drunk married woman to bed. But his responses were indifferent, and he seemed to be losing interest fast. I was so shaken by what I was reading. It must be some mistake. She came home and I confronted her. I was so upset. I told her she's destroyed our lives and needs to leave. I want a divorce and you get nothing. This was 2 days ago and we have done so much talking since then. The thing is, she was living out some ridiculous fantasy about this guy who already lives in her hometown that can save her from her marriage to someone dead set on staying in the city. I am truly heartbroken with what she's done to me. It feels like such a violation that she has allowed this man to experience her physically. It is the ultimate betrayal of trust, and I want to hate her for it and tell her our marriage is over for good and to leave. I always believed cheating was a deal breaker. She certainly made that clear to me, but I still love her. She is still the mother of my children, and a big part of me wants to fight for our family's survival. Thing is, she is a human, and she has made a mistake. The mother of all mistakes. So do I kick her to the curb or do I start the process of rebuilding our marriage and its foundation? I have suggested she go away for a couple of days to her sister's. I asked her if she will see him, and she said probably, because she needs to ask him why he's changed in the last few weeks. I told her in no uncertain terms that if she goes to see this guy, it is over for us. The only acceptable communication with him will be to tell him she's made a huge mistake and goodbye. She says her unhappiness is a result of my not wanting to move to her hometown. But I also believe it's because she feels she doesn't deserve the life we have in the city. She stepped into my life when I was already well established financially, and so money has never been of any concern for her. She's gone to this loser because she feels that the life he has is what she deserves. I've read many posts from people that have said the recovery from an affair was the start of something even better. I am hopeful that this could be the start of a deeper and more honest connection. I of course realize a ton of work needs to be done for me to trust her again. But she is the mother of my children, and despite this mistake, I love her. She says she is torn between her life in the city and this new guy. I told her he's a scumbag. He's nothing. He takes other men's wives to bed. He has no integrity nor morals. I really hope she realizes this fantasy she's living in. I genuinely believe my wife is truly sorry for the pain she has caused me. But I don't believe she's yet realized the true gravity of what she's chosen. I really hope for our children's sake that she chooses the repair route. This will involve many months of counseling sessions for sure. I'm not really sure why I am posting this because, really, I'm just looking for some encouragement that there's hope for us to get through this. I thought cheating was the most unforgivable act of betrayal. She always expressed her fear that I would cheat on her. I've been unfailingly loyal for all 10 years of our marriage. I wrote this post yesterday for Reddit and someone suggested this site, so it was a copy and paste from what is now feels like a lifetime ago. My wife has gone to her sister's and the entire time she has gone she has been sending me messages, photos, and videos. She is talking to me like her old self, ending messages with 20. I am trying to not be too accessible to her, so I'm thinking the next time I hear from her I will ask her to only message me in relation to the children, as I don't want her to be getting her emotional needs met by me. She needs to know this is not just about her figuring out what she really wants, but also, I am doing a lot of thinking too about whether this is worth saving. What I'm trying to do right now is not tell myself that it's a sure thing that she will return, and we will start the rebuilding. There's every possibility that she will decide we can no longer be married. But in my heart, I really feel she will come back to me once she realizes that whatever this thing was just pure fantasy, and a temporary escape from the real issues which lie with her. Comment: your marriage can survive if she is truly remorseful, cuts all ties with this guy, seeks therapy, does everything you need her to do, is accountable for her whereabouts at all times, is completely transparent with her phone, social media, etc. She must build back trust. Original poster: thank you, this is perfect. Comment: if her sister covered for her, make sure her family and husband know this too. Original poster: I have messaged her sister and she said she was so sorry that she wasn't able to say anything to me over the weekend as it is my wife's job. I told her that is absolutely true. I really like the idea though that her husband knows she was covering for her sister. What I'd like to ask you all is, I told her this yesterday. Comment: if you see him this weekend, it is over for us. The only communication with him I would accept is a message saying I made a huge mistake with you. I love my husband and I am going to work now on repairing my marriage. Goodbye. Original poster: I would hope that if she has made such contact that she would now message me and tell me so. But should I ask her if she has put a stop to it yet? It's been nearly 48 hours since the affair was exposed. Or should I simply wait for her confirmation? Her mother cheated on her father, which caused their separation and eventual divorce. She had to see the fallout of this firsthand, with her defiant mother and her destroyed father. She hasn't told her father because she's super scared of how disappointed he will be, especially as I know he adores me. Should I call her father and explain what is happening? Okay, I sent her this message half an hour ago, but she hasn't yet replied. Wife, I've been patiently waiting since yesterday for confirmation that you have ended this affair. If it is still continuing, I am not going to accept it. I know you are in a fog right now, so I need to make it very clear to you so you understand what might happen from here. This has got to end right now, or I am leaving you, and I will be seeking full-time custody of the children. So, I need to see evidence today that it is over and that you have told him not to contact you again. You've shown me regret that you've hurt me, but so far, no sign or remorse. If you think our marriage and our family are worth saving, you need to take this first step, right now. I also just phoned her father and told him everything. He's with my wife's sister and family right now, and he was surprised to hear my wife is up there. If she's not with them, I hope to God she is at their house and not with him. But I suspect she is. Her father is absolutely livid. He's going to call her and try to get her head out of this BS. He told me I love you to bits and you don't deserve this. Comment. Please reread Job's post about not making ultimatums that you are not going to carry out. Original poster. I've just written an email to my lawyer concerning where to next. And I absolutely intend to follow through. I have integrity and dignity, and she knows this. This is her chance now to snap out of this fantasy and start facing the reality of what she's done. Comment. Her desire to move home is her desire for him. This is a situation that arises all the time. An old love, an old crush or powerful pulls on some people. Original poster. No, she only met this guy 4 weeks ago, and part of the allure is that he already lives where she wants to. Hi everyone, I'm back, and was pleased to see all the new replies. A lot of people jumping to major conclusions. Or am I being naive? I gave her the ultimatum this morning. End it with him now or I am leaving and taking the kids. Her response, I didn't realize I had a timeline. I told her you either know or you don't. There's not in between and she needs to make a decision right now. 5 minutes later she sent me a screenshot of her messages to him where she said it's over. She needs to save her marriage. And goodbye. She only met him 4 weeks ago, so this was a short affair. I know she has not been with him since she got there. I phoned her dad and told him everything and he was livid. He talked to her and all he got from her was all I know is I want to live up here in the country. It has been a bit surprising for me that I have not yet had any groveling for forgiveness. But then also, I think her head is in such a fog right now. After all, it was only 2 days ago that I blew her out of the water by discovering her cheating. But I am probably expecting too much. I think right now she is thinking I'm almost 40, and this might be my last chance to start over living in the place I call home. So, I'm thinking that she might just need to go and live up there for a few months, get a job, see what day-to-day is like. And maybe she'll realize then the grass is not greener on the other side, it's greener where you water it. She's told me my fear is that I move up there, realize after a few months it's not what I thought it would be and want to come back. But by then it's too late, you've moved on, and you won't want me. It's funny, I have always had this recurring dream that she has left me, and I am heartbroken that she no longer wants to be with me. Because for so long she was nothing but devoted, and now it's turned into my worst nightmare. I keep expecting to wake up and find it was all a dream. To everyone saying to start divorce proceedings. It's been 2 days. How can I possibly be in that headspace yet to know that's what I want? As for making her fear losing me altogether, what does that achieve? It puts pressure on her to make a decision she needs time to make, and it might not then be the right one. Right now, I am just trying to not be too accessible to her. She hasn't messaged me since the screenshot and it's making me insane, waiting to hear something from her. Okay, I think I want to take the power back and avoid the pick-me dance. How's this? I'll probably never understand why you couldn't just come to me and say, I'm deeply unhappy in our marriage, so unhappy that I could be tempted to have an inappropriate relationship with someone else. Or we need to try living in SHT for 6 months or I can't continue the marriage. This would have been infinitely easier to deal with than what I'm left with now. But you never gave me a choice. Instead, you've devastated me and changed all our lives forever. I don't know how long this affair would have continued had I not exposed you. I don't know if you would have ever confessed by yourself. I don't know why you wanted to look at houses to buy and then go sneaking off with him. I'll have so many questions that you can probably never answer. I will never accept that the city, or my parents, or my depression are any justification for what you've done. I will never accept that your cheating was in any way my fault. Your affair showed me that you don't love me or respect me, or the commitment we made to each other. I've had issues and doubts over the years. I've done my absolute best to work on myself and better understand who I am and why I am this way. All I wanted was for you to feel settled here so that we could get on with our lives. You could have so easily figured out what's lacking in your life with counseling or therapy. Maybe I made things too easy for you. Maybe you needed some struggle and challenge in your life so you could feel like you earned it. I hope one day soon you will figure this out. I know I can't change you. I can't fix you. I can't make you want to reconcile. I can't make you come home. And I can't take responsibility for ensuring your happiness. All I can control right now is how I feel and what I do next. I've decided that I want to separate. For now, our children's welfare and stability are the priority. They should continue to live here and go to school. They need as few changes right now as possible with their parents no longer living together. I propose that I will look after them Monday to Friday while you reside elsewhere, so you can work to support yourself, and on weekends you can stay in the house with them while I reside elsewhere. Once they become settled into this routine and better understand what is happening, we can discuss how we share their time between blank and blank. I also strongly feel that they should have a say in where their preferred base residence is. This is not a decision I've made lightly by any stretch, but it's the one I feel is best for me and our children, and probably you too. I need to begin healing and moving forward with my life, and you need proper time and separation from our situation to figure yourself out. I promise you I will never say anything to the children that paints you in a bad light. You are and will always be their mother, and I hope you will do the same for me. I promise that I will be amicable with you in all dealings relating to the sharing of their care, their schooling, and any future events where we will all be together. I will always be respectful of you in their presence, and I will always consider your family to be important to me. No one else needs to be a victim in this. You are welcome to continue staying in blank for now and return when you are ready. In the meantime, please start making arrangements for where you will stay during the week. Comment: a wayward wife sees a long letter like that, and this is what their takeaway is. He put a lot of thought and effort into that letter. He still wants and loves me. Original poster. I'm so glad I didn't send it yet. Thanks again for more great messages and advice. Some things I can't get out of my head, you can hopefully help with. I've suffered anxiety, depression on and off for years. Sometimes I've had a very bad year, and other times a very good year. I have mostly been very good for the last 2 years, but a lot of this stems from my inability to let people get close to me. I've been seeing a therapist for nearly 3 years, and I read a lot of books on this stuff, articles, podcasts, etc. I've been absolutely committed to healing myself from the things in my childhood that programmed me this way. Sure, there's been many times I've asked myself, is she the right person for me? And the answer has always been yes, but it has been a long and hard road. I also have elderly parents that in their old age have become quite suffocating. They live close by, and they want to see us at least once a week mostly. My wayward wife has had trouble dealing with the smothering, as have I, and it is hard to deal with it without hurting them. It causes a lot of distress between me and wayward wife, but I always ask her if we move to her hometown, wouldn't she be wanting to see her family regularly too? After all, she wants to move there to be closer to her family. Lastly, I'm a city guy and a professional. She comes from a place where most guys are laborers or unskilled. When she met me, she told me I had the smoothest hands she'd ever seen. I often wondered why she wanted to be with me instead of someone more outdoorsy and practical around the house, like the people she grew up with. When we met, she pursued me hard. I resisted for 3 years. She eventually wrote me a letter saying that if we couldn't at least try a relationship, then we could no longer be friends. I didn't take this bait at that time, but eventually I realized I had feelings for her, and we started a relationship. It was early on that she started talking about moving to the country, and I told her that the city was where my life is and that wasn't going to change anytime soon. She told me as long as she's with me, the city will be okay, but her desire to return home has grown over time. So, what I'm wanting to say is, all I've heard from her so far about why this cheating happened is, I didn't want to move to the country. My parents are smothering. My anxiety, depression has been hard to deal with as a spouse. I'm not handy enough. And this is why she is now in her hometown with her sister trying to figure out what she really wants. A life in the country without me, or whatever else. I of course realize this is now out of the question, anyway, given what's happened. Based on how the conversation between them trailed off in the days before I discovered the affair on Messenger, I'm pretty sure the is more or less over. I can tell he was already bored. Her messages were way too needy. You could see she was caught up in the thrill of it all, and he was quite matter-of-fact. So, I don't think I even needed to send the message asking her to end it. It was probably already over. In her screenshot to me of the NC, her message aligned with the last message I saw when I discovered the conversation. Lastly, on divorce. Where we live, you must be separated for 2 years before you can divorce. But I am making plans now for how a separation will work, particularly when she returns home. She will need to sleep in the guest room, and I will be very businesslike with her. until she can find somewhere else to stay. There will be no physical contact with her and no reassurances of absolutely anything. My anger towards her for what she's done to us is really starting to simmer now. And yet, just when I feel like my anger is keeping me going, I suddenly get a sinking sadness, realizing our life as we knew it is now over. Thank you, everyone. This thread has been a godsend. I'm so thankful I found this forum and for all your messages. Since I started the 180, she has become the chaser. I'm proud of myself for being assertive and taking control of the situation. Her dad called me, and he was crying. He is so upset and disappointed with her. I've told her she needs to get herself back here, face her responsibilities. As a mother, start making some decisions on living arrangements and how she's going to support herself financially. I've told her while she's up there trying to figure herself out, I am down here running a household, looking after 3 worried children, and dealing with the end of my marriage. Her response, "You told me you'd give me all the time I need, and it's only been 2 days. Now you're saying you want to move on and don't want to try and sort things out." I spoke. There's nothing to work out. Only when you've done a lot of work on yourself could there be any chance of beginning reconciliation. But I will probably have moved on by then. I hope she is suffering now that I'm turning the tables on her. I also contacted the partner of the and told her everything. She was totally shocked. She said they've been trying to reconciliate over the last month. I said to her my wife is living in some kind of fantasy with him, to which she said, "Wow, she and I have different ideas of fantasy. Interested to hear your thoughts on this sentiment."